I'm ready when you are, Scott. Okay, fantastic. So as Scott said, thank you for that lovely introduction. My name is Derek Van Pelt. I'm the managing director of a company here in Bangkok called Siam Wheels, and we are in the motorcycle business. I'm going to speak to you this evening about a very good friend of mine and the foundation he established. It goes by the name of Wheel2Wheel. And the reason I've chosen to speak about Wheel2Wheel tonight is not because of the foundation itself or because of the charities that they support, but it's because of what it represents to me. And that is that you can do good while having fun. And I want each of you tonight to leave thinking about how you can mix your passions with a way to help those less fortunate than yourselves. In 2004, Charlie Boorman and Ewan McGregor set off on their around-the-world expedition that they called Long Way Round. Their adventure to travel from London to New York by motorcycle caught the imagination of thousands of people around the world, including that of my good friend Morgan Parker, who at the time was the CEO of a listed property company in Hong Kong. Morgan was convinced that he needed to take action. He didn't just want to throw away a high-paying job in Hong Kong to putter around on motorcycles, though. He wanted to serve a higher purpose, and he wanted to mix his passion for traveling the world by motorcycles with a way to help people in needs. In his role as CEO, he'd been active with many of his company's CSR activities, corporate social responsibility. But he wanted to do more than just write a check and then walk away. He wanted to make a lasting impact on the lives of the people that he saw around him. So he established his foundation, Wheel2Wheel, in order to do just that. While still working his day job, Morgan started his planning. Since he wanted to provide as much help to the charities as possible, he wanted to make sure that 100% of donated money went to the causes that Wheel2Wheel was going to champion, rather than to the expense of riding his bike. So to that end, he personally set aside the money necessary to actually do the trip. Beginning in 2009, Morgan started to put his team together and began to both train for and to plan the trip of a lifetime. Most importantly, he started the selection process of the charities that his trip would support. He quickly realized that Wheel2Wheel would be able to provide not just money, but also desperately needed attention to the causes of the charities that Wheel2Wheel selected. One of the concepts of selecting the charities that were chosen was that they had to be good enough to warrant attention, but small enough that the Wheel2Wheel program would have an impact. This, of course, was easier said than done, and so Morgan assembled a team of volunteers, and they spent 18 months researching more than 360 charities before they ultimately whittled it down to 10. As part of the same process, the trip route was coming together. Everyone knew from the start that the general idea was to head from Hong Kong to Brisbane, but then it had to be fine-tuned so that they could visit the charities in each of the countries that the expedition was going to pass through. And the final route offered a full diversity of sites: Angkor Wat in Cambodia, the Mekong River, mountains, jungles, as well as diverse cities such as Bangkok, Hanoi, and Jakarta. The entire route offered a tremendous variety in both the natural environment and the man-made environment. The chosen charities by Wheel2Wheel are the Clean Air Network in Hong Kong, which informs the public about the dangers of air pollution. Gecko in China offers environmental training to middle and high schoolers. Animals Asia is a Vietnamese animal welfare group. Child's Dream is making education accessible to the children of Laos. New Hope rehabilitates broken families in Cambodia. In Thailand, the fantastic Bangurta Home for HIV-infected orphans was chosen. They're up at north in Lopburi. The Women's Aid Organization of Malaysia, PanEco of Indonesia, the Action for Change Foundation of Timor-Leste, and NAILSMA Australia were also chosen for their dedication to their particular causes. Now the question for all of us here tonight is, why is this important? To be frank, you probably won't remember the names of the charities I just mentioned five minutes from now. What is important is that you realize the impact of combining a passion with a willingness to help, and the impact that that can have on the people in our communities. The impact is far more than just financial. It doesn't have to cost you a lot of money to get involved. Sometimes what these charities need is attention. I mean, let's be honest, we're in a world that's filled with competition for money and attention. And if you can help get the word out about a worthwhile cause so that others can give excess time or money, then you've helped to make the world a better place. The latest impact figures from Wheel2Wheel are staggering. A film crew followed Morgan on his trip, and the National Geographic Channel just aired a 10-part series on the foundation. And through that series, Wheel2Wheel and the charities I just mentioned were introduced to nearly 7 million homes in 21 countries. Wheel2Wheel has more than 3,000 Twitter followers, 35,000 fans on Facebook. and nearly 500,000 YouTube video viewings from viewers around the world. More than 100 news and magazine articles have mentioned Wheel2Wheel, giving it more exposure to these small charities that so desperately need it. The total media value of the charity so far is far in excess of $2 million US. And I'd like to just take a second to remind you what the best part of this whole thing is. And that is that Morgan Parker had the time of his life doing it. Sure, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, rather. It was a lot of work at times. There were setbacks and problems. But at the end of the day, I can guarantee you that he has no regrets. So again, the reason that I wanted to introduce Wheel2Wheel to you this evening is not just because I love them, and not just because I think they're doing good things, although those are true, but because of the example it sets for all of us. And that is that you can do good while having fun. I'd like to ask each of you this evening to leave thinking about how you can mix your passions with a way to help those less fortunate than yourselves. Morgan Parker rode 25,000 kilometers. He spent 124 days, 22 hours and 30 minutes on this trip. He met some of the best people he's ever met in his life. He changed lives. His life was changed. What can you do to change lives today? Anyone can do this. The idea is to set an example of getting involved in something that you love. Whatever it is that inspires you to get out and get active, please do it. Do try and figure out how you can meld your passion with some other worthy cause. Remember, it's not difficult when you're doing something that you love.